Hello and welcome to WJTS in.form. In this edition of WJTS in.form, we're going to talk about beverage choices, and joining us in the studio is the Extension Educator with Purdue Extension in DuBois County, Jan Dougan. Jan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. It's great to be here tonight.
Well, it's always good to have you come in and talk about healthy choices you make, and because what I like about it is you don't really condemn anything that anybody does. It's more just sometimes we need to alter slightly what we do. So let's talk about beverage choices, and I'm assuming that we're talking about good-for-you beverages and not necessarily the other beverages, adult beverages. We are talking probably about juices, water, soft drinks. What are some choices?
We're going to talk about the beverages that we drink, but I want to comment on what you just said about making choices. And you know, research has shown us that if we just try to make one change at a time, that we're more likely to be successful at that and then improve our health and well-being by doing that. So when you think about beverages, let's say that maybe you take in an extra beverage every day, whether that be a soft drink or a milkshake or you know, any kind of beverage that is 100 calories a day. If you would just stop that and substitute water, by this time next year, without changing anything that you do, you would weigh 10 pounds less.
Really? Just by changing it to water?
Yes.
Man.
Because water has no calories, and that 100 calories every extra every day helps you to maintain your weight or even gain weight, so that if you cut back that 100 calories every day, you could lose up to 10 pounds by this time next year without making any other changes.
And those are losing 10 good, strong pounds, not those where you just fast for a little bit, you can lose 10 pounds real easy. These are genuine pounds you're losing.
Correct. So, you know, it's something to think about, those little changes that we can make every day and how they can impact our health and well-being. Because there is some documentation that if we lose just 5% of our weight, that's going to make a huge difference on how hard, if we're overweight, if we're not at a safe, reasonable weight for our body. So when we look at our BMI, if we're under 25, then we're okay. If we're over 25, we're overweight. And then when we get higher up the scale, we get obese. So, you know, if we're in a safe weight range for our body, then that's okay. But if we're not, and we need to take some weight off to ease the burden on our heart from pumping so hard, then, you know, by cutting out 100 calories each day, we can do that. And maybe that's with the beverages you drink.
Now, before we get too deep into this, how much water should you drink a day? I guess we get water. I mean, when I eat cereal in the morning, there's milk in that cereal and there's water in that milk. If I drink coffee, there's water in that coffee. How much water should we have in a day?
I personally think that varies a little bit from person to person because we get water in our foods, because we get water in our fruits. But the recommendation usually is to have 8 glasses of water every day. Now, we're not talking about that big 32-ounce glass that you have around that, you know, have 8 of those. We're talking about 8 ounces of water every day. So that's a total of 64 ounces, correct?
That's really not that much.
That isn't that much when you think about it. So I think one of the challenges for a lot of people is, how do I get that water in? How do I do that? Well, one of the ways is you can set a SMART goal for yourself. When are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? Where are you going to do it? Think about that. So I know when I looked at, oh gee, you know, sometimes we fall off the wagon and we're not doing such a great job of eating healthier and living our healthy lifestyle. And it happens to all of us all of the time. You know, from time to time, life happens, right?
Right.
Stressful things happen, change of jobs, kids, you know, whatever it is. And we don't focus on our health and well-being so much during those times. So when I was looking at that, I thought, wow, I've stopped drinking my water. What's going on? So I made a goal for myself that every morning after my first cup of coffee, I would have 16 ounces of water before I could have my second cup of coffee. It worked. So, you know, it's just figuring out how to get that to happen in your daily life, and how will it fit into my routine, and what am I willing to do? What changes am I willing to make, and how can I be successful at that? It's really thinking about those things when we're thinking about behavior changes that we want to make to improve our life and well-being.
And then once you get in that habit,
Right.
that it just, you don't even think about what you're doing. You're not consciously drinking that 16 ounces of water. It's just the routine you go through.
Right. It happens. It happens. Our body needs water. We need water to keep ourselves lubricated. We need water to help move foods through our system. Our body is made up of a lot of water anyway, and so when we perspire and sweat, we need to replace that fluid in our bodies to maintain health and well-being. So, figure out a way to drink that water. One of the things some people do is drink water before a meal. So by drinking water before a meal, you help reduce your hunger, and you probably will eat less at that meal. So that's another good way of getting your water in. A number of people have told me that when they thought they were hungry, they actually were thirsty. And I think that's true of a lot of us, that we're not really hungry, we're thirsty. So when you have those hunger pains or that thought that you're hungry, drink water first. And if that satisfies you, then you know you were thirsty and not hungry. Yeah.
Is there a time of year when you should be drinking more water than other times? I know if I'm going to go out and it's summertime and I'm going to be sweating a lot because I plan to be out all day playing softball or working on a fence or whatever, I probably should increase my water intake. But maybe we don't realize how much in the wintertime we lose. And is there a time of year you should be drinking more?
Anytime in the summer when the weather gets extremely warm, we do need to stay hydrated. It's very, very important. But in the wintertime, when people are out shoveling the snow, I mean, you're not perspiring usually, because it's cold outside, but you're still exerting energy and you need to replace the fluid. So it's important to drink water then too. So that's really, like if you ever go over to Paoli and go skiing and you don't feel like, you really need to hydrate, but you do because you've been over there and you've been exercising, you've been physically active. It's really important to maintain that water level in our bodies.
Okay, now, for the maintain that water level, we're talking about beverages. Not everybody likes to drink water all the time, and we don't want to necessarily. I don't want to drink water all the time. I like fruit juices. I do like soft drinks. I do like other beverages. What are some suggestions in that line?
I think the important thing is to make better choices and choose those beverages in moderation. And don't replace the healthy beverages with the beverages that aren't so healthy. So, a soft drink is not maybe the healthiest choice to have all the time. I would never tell someone not to ever have a soft drink if you enjoy it. It's part of our lifestyles. It's something that we enjoy having, and they're okay to have. But if, for example, if a child is drinking a soft drink and never drinking their milk, they're not building strong bones. So we don't want to replace those good drinks that we need, like the milk and the fruit juice, with a drink that, maybe doesn't provide us the nutritional value of the other drink.
Now, there are more so now than there used to be beverages out there that are made with fruits and vegetables. It amazes me the amount of juices you can make with carrots. Almost everything has carrots and sweet potatoes and beets in it. Are those good?
I think you have to look at the nutritional label to determine whether it's good and whether it's a good choice for you or not. There's some fruit juices, some vegetable juices that are a serving of vegetables. There are others that there's probably more water in it than, the vegetable or the fruit. And why are you buying it? Are you buying it because you're thinking you're getting fruits and vegetables? So it's really, again, important. It goes back to looking at that nutritional label, reading the ingredients in the product, knowing what you're buying, what you're spending your money for, and is it what you want to be spending your money for?
You always have the plate that half of it needs to be fruits and vegetables and a quarter is grains and a quarter is protein and dairy. If you are drinking something that is your serving of vegetables, has 2 servings of vegetables, for instance, does that mean you can get by without eating green beans and just eat that little piece of meat?
Well, the thing about fruits and vegetables, Bill, is that more matters. Okay. More can make a difference on our health and well-being. So don't eliminate those green beans from your plate just because you're drinking tomato juice.
Okay.
It's better to have more, okay?
All right.
But it's okay if you don't want them that night. You know, we need to mix it up. We need to have variety. We need to eat everything in moderation. Understand the choices that we're making.
Okay, and there are those new vegetable, fruit vegetable juices that are out there, and it doesn't take that much to get a serving.
That's true, but it is important too to know that the more processed something is, the less nutritional value that we're getting from it. You know, so again, eat a tomato, drink tomato juice. It's better if we can to eat the tomato, but you know, if we're not going to eat the tomato, then by all means have the tomato juice.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add about beverages?
I just think it's really important for people to understand the importance of dairy, and milk is probably one of our easiest ways to get calcium every day, and young children need calcium for strong bones. Older adults need calcium to maintain bone health. So, you know, it's important to drink the milk. One of the things people always ask me is, well, there's vitamin D in some milks and there's not vitamin D in the others. There's vitamin D in all milks. It's just more predominant on the other label, but it's the same in all milks. The difference in milks between fat-free milk and whole milk is the amount of fat in the milk. There's the same amount of calcium in all those milks. It's just the amount of fat. So again, being February, you go back to thinking about heart health. If I'm concerned about my heart, I want to have lower fat, so I want to try to move down to the fat-free milk versus the whole milk. But if I'm a healthy person, no weight issues, I'm not worried about my weight, I'm doing well, you know, and I don't have a heart history in my family, then, you know, 2% milk would be a good choice. So either way, you know, I want people to understand that milk is a great choice.
Okay, and there's a lot of great choices when it comes to beverages. Just make sure you're choosing the right ones that are better for you. And water's always good.
Right.
No matter what, water's good.
Right.
You can drink too much water, can't you? What if all you did was drink water?
Everything
That's too much?
in moderation, Bill.
Okay, all right. It even goes for water.
Goes for water too.
All right. Thank you very much, Jan. Our guest has been Jan Dougan. She is the Extension Educator with Purdue Extension Service of DuBois County. I'm Bill Potter, thanking you for watching WJTS in.form. We are local people watching local people.